Hey there, YouTube family. Dr. K here, back for another video. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel, Winning in Education. So on this channel, we talk all things winning, whatever that may mean to you. So whether you're new to the teaching field, you are in teaching and trying to move out of the classroom and to go into maybe teacher leadership or the principal's role, or winning in education could mean that you are looking to leave the education field altogether and find a completely new career. So whatever that means to you, I am back from vacation. Thank you for those that sent me comments and wished me well. I am back. So today I got a lot of responses and comments that I still need to reply to, but one comment stood out. And I got it after my video, find out if you should still become a teacher for surprising benefits for a future teacher. So that comment that I got that I'm speaking on today came from a future student teacher, and she wanted to know if it was still worth it. Should she become a teacher? And then she started to relay some horror stories about her field experience classes, one of which is that her comment, the mentor teacher wanted her to do everything, quote unquote, even the classroom discipline. So I'm not sure what she meant by everything, but I kind of got the feeling that this young lady was not really sure what her role should be as a student teacher, or perhaps she was just unwilling to fulfill her obligations as a student teacher as the mentor teacher saw fit. So this video is for her and for all future student teachers. And I'm titling this video, The Top 3 Things You Need to Do, Know, and Understand to Ace Student Teaching. And it's just 3 things. They are simple, but they are so huge. So yes, I have worked with student teachers. As you guys know, I'm a former principal. So I've worked with student teachers coming into my building as the principal. And now as I am working in higher education, I'm working with student teachers out in the field. I've done that for many years. I'm working with, of course, current principals as well. So here are the top 3 things I think you need to know, be able to do to ace student teaching, and you should be trying to ace it. The first thing is you have to observe. You have got to hone your observation skills because you're observing everything that's happening in the classroom. The good, the bad, the ugly. You're observing. So no, you are not sitting in the back of the classroom on your phone texting, or looking down at your phone on Facebook or YouTube looking at my video. Wait till you get home for that. You're not distracted. You are observing. You're actively observing. And what should you be observing? Well, everything you can. So I'm just throwing these out here. These are the first ones that come to my mind. How the teacher runs the classroom, right? How does she get the kids in? How does she get them settled in the morning? How does she get the work started for the day? How is she transitioning from moment to moment, from subject to subject? How does she handle students when they have questions, when they have problems, when they have concerns? Like everything that she's doing, you're observing. And you're not just observing kind of sitting in the back and just kind of thinking about what's going on is just washing over you. You're actively observing. So again, that means you're not on your phone, you're not checked out, you're not looking out the window, you're not doodling. You should be observing and taking notes. So you're observing so that you can observe the best of what your mentor teacher is doing and toss the rest. Because everything your mentor teacher does is not going to be stellar, right? She's a human, or he's a human. They're going to be making some mistakes along the way, but your job is, as a student teacher, to observe the best and toss the rest. Not to criticize. You're not there evaluating your mentor teacher in the back of the room and saying, oh my gosh, I would have done it this way, or he's not doing it right, or she's not doing it. You're not there for that. You are just observing as much as you can and actively observing, so taking notes. So number 2, You're there to learn. Learn everything that you can. This is the time in student teaching that you're making connections between your college courses and the real world of teaching. So you hear this a lot, that theory to practice connection. All of your classes, all of the books and articles and papers and projects that you've done, now you have to put that into actual practice. The purpose of you getting that degree was so that you can take that book knowledge and use it into the classroom. So what do I mean by actual practice? You should be learning how to deliver a good lesson. So you've done lesson plans in these classes probably until you're tired and blue in the face. You know how to write a lesson plan. You've heard a million times of how you put a good lesson together. But now you're actually seeing it in action, right? You're learning the nuts and bolts, real world application, boots on the ground of how you put a good lesson together. What does it take? How are you truly assessing students, right? Not only how are you assessing them throughout the day, on the fly, on the run, but what do you then do with that assessment data? You're looking at your mentor teacher to see how they're assessing, how they're teaching, assessing, and teaching, assessing, going back and forth. And then what do they do with that assessment data? Real world applications. How do you build a positive classroom environment? You're looking at your mentor teacher and hopefully they have a positive classroom environment. And you're learning from them. So you're learning, how do you do that? How do you pull that together? You've learned about this in college courses. You've read about it. You've done projects about it till you're sick in the place. But now it's time to do it. You have to do it. How do you implement a positive classroom management system, right? You've learned all of this in your college courses, how you have to have student buy-in, how you have to make sure that there's not too many rules, right? You have to get kids on board. You've heard all of that, but how do you do it? This is what you're learning in student teaching. You learn everything that you can, and I'm going to say this with love because I think this might be one of the problems that this young lady is having. Don't act like you know everything. You are a student teacher, and you have been assigned to a mentor teacher. And I'll tell you, as a principal, I picked my mentor teachers really carefully. Not only did they have to be master teachers, like they had to know their craft and they had to be great at classroom management, but they also had to know how to build relationships with parents and students and you as a student teacher. So you cannot, as a brand new baby teacher, come into a mentor teacher's classroom and think you know everything. That is not going to fly. You do not know everything. I think if that's the one lesson you can take away from this video as a student teacher, is you're there to learn and you don't know everything. So yes, you know some things. You may even know more things about, let's say, technology, the latest technology, the latest apps, for instance, particularly if your mentor teacher is a bit older, that you can introduce your teacher to, your mentor teacher to. But for goodness sakes, do not go in this classroom as a student teacher and think that you know everything. You don't. And it's the kiss of death if you really are trying to ace your student teaching. So that was number 2. Number 3 is the kiss of death, I think, for many student teachers that I have worked with, is you have to teach. So you first have to observe, you have to learn, and then ultimately in student teaching, you have to teach. Student teaching is all about teaching. Every student teacher I've ever worked with, on both sides of the field, whether I was a principal working with student teachers and my mentor teachers, or as a professor now and taking teachers out in the field, they are reluctant and afraid to start teaching. But the whole goal of student teaching, my friends, is you must teach. You have to teach. And I think from that comment I got from that young lady, she may have been a little reluctant to teach. So you're going to start out small. So this is something you're going to be building up to. You have been doing little teaching projects in your college classrooms, but now this is the real world, right? So you're going to start off small. Your mentor teacher will probably have you do a read aloud, right? So you're going to plan a lesson plan for that, and then you're going to execute an actual lesson start to finish for a read aloud, or maybe a small math lesson. So you're going to start out one subject at a time, gradually building over the course of your student teaching semester. So in the beginning, you're only planning for one subject and the one time you're teaching during the day. But ultimately, at the end of student teaching, your last, let's say, 5 to 6 weeks, you're planning, particularly if this is elementary school, you're planning for all of the subjects and you're teaching the entire day. And I think when I reread that comment, I think that's where she may be a little confused, because she said she has me doing everything and she's just kind of sitting in the back of the room and I'm even doing discipline. Well, that's what you should be doing. You are functioning as the teacher of the classroom. So you're going to be planning for every lesson, particularly during the last couple of weeks of your internship, and you're going to be teaching all of the lessons by yourself. So your job as the student teacher at the end of those final weeks in student teaching is to be the teacher. Your mentor's job during this transition is to sit in the back of the room, let you teach, so let you fly or let you fail. That's how you learn. That is her job, is to sit back, take notes, and debrief with you at the end of the day. So of course, if something happens in the classroom, there is a crazy classroom management situation, she or he will intervene. But ultimately, they should not be intervening. This is not you co-teaching with your mentor teacher and you're asking her questions along the way, particularly when you are full-time student teaching. You are teaching. So I know it's scary for a lot of people, student teachers. I've talked with them. I've sat with many a student teacher after their first couple of lessons and they're so nervous and, how did I do? And you did it. You have to get through it, because the goal is to leave student teaching confident enough in your abilities, confident enough to run your future classroom. Remember, when you get your first teaching job, your mentor teacher is not going to be sitting in the back of the classroom where you can just run back there and ask questions. That's over. You will be the teacher. So as scary as student teaching may be, as scary as it is to get up and teach that first lesson, get up and to teach for the entire day and have the mentor or teacher in the back taking notes, have your university supervisor coming out observing your teaching, having the principal. Yes, I used to go into my student teacher classrooms, particularly on the days they were doing their full day teaching, and observe them and then give them feedback. You want feedback. Even though it's scary, even though it's probably not all going to be great and rosy and cheerful, you want constructive feedback. That is the goal. So the 3 things you need to do to know and be able to do for student teaching is observe actively. Stay off your cell phones, turn your cell phones off, don't be on Facebook, don't be texting. Observe. Take notes while you're observing. Learn as much as you can. Do not think that you know everything. You do not know everything. If you think you know everything and you're trying to outshine your mentor teacher, you are missing valuable knowledge. And finally, the last thing is you've got to teach. You've got to do it. You've got to get up over your fear, get up there and teach and teach and teach. So do your best teaching. Yes, you're going to make some mistakes, but ultimately you are going to walk away from the student teaching experience being ready to tackle your own classroom, because that is the goal. Now, here's my bonus thing. This is number 4. You have to journal. I have told many student teachers, and I know we have these computers now, I'm an old school person, take a notebook in and write down what's going on in the classroom, because I guarantee you, you are not going to remember everything that's happening in your student teaching semester next year when you get your classroom. So you want to have a journal that you can refer back to. And I tell students, and I have a journal, I'm going to link to it here that you can use for student teaching, but you want to be journaling about the top 3 things you learned that day. So for instance, I learned how my mentor teacher diffuses a hostile situation between two students before it escalates, right? I learned how they did that. How did they do that? I'm writing that down in my journal so I can remember this when I get in my classroom. Or my mentor teacher has a great way that she transitions from subject to subject. Or I love the way that she does her assessment checks before students are going to lunch, right? You're not going to remember this off the top of the brain. That's why you write it down. Or my mentor teacher used a great read aloud. I had never heard this book before, introducing this phenomenal math concept, or maybe it was science, or whatever it was. You never heard about this book before, but I want to use that book in my class. I'm going to write that down in my journal. So when you start your class next, you get your own class, right? You get your first teaching job. You go back to that journal and it's all in one place. All the books that you said I wanted to use, all of the outstanding classroom management techniques that your mentor demonstrated and you learned during student teaching. It will be in the journal. So you're journaling the top 3 things you learned, and then you want to journal about top 3 things you want to learn the next day. So today, these were my top 3 things I learned, and tomorrow I want to try to learn A, B, and C. All right, guys, that's it for now. I hope my student teacher is subscribed to my channel and she will come across this video. Student teaching is not for you to be showing off. It is for you to teach. I know it's scary. You can do it. And yes, I do think it's worth it. You're at the end of your college program. It's too late for you to turn left. Finish the degree, finish student teaching, and if you get into student teaching and you get in your new teaching job 5 years down the road and you feel like this is not the right career for you, then you do something about it then. Right now, you need to finish student teaching and get the job. So that's it for now, guys. If you have any additional must-knows for our student teaching students to be, leave them in the comments below. I'm really enjoying all of my comments. I'm going to reply to a few more tonight, and I will see you in my next video and also in the comment section. So don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Okay, guys, take care.